I think the world ended in 2012.
Now, this is very tricky. This is very tricky because a lot of people think that the world ended in year 2000. A lot of people think that the world ended in year 2012. But I'm going to be real honest with y'all. And I don't know how many people will agree with me or not. But I think the world ended in year 2020. And the reason why I believe that the world ended in 2020 and uh, the reason why I think that the world ended in 2020 because in year 2020, March of 2020, right, we had a pandemic. And a lot of people might not think about this, and a lot of people might get an enlightenment after I say what I say. We had a pandemic of March of 2020, right? And when we had that pandemic, March of 2020, they basically put us on lockdown because they tried to say that we had this COVID thing, right? So March of 2020 is when we had this COVID outbreak and everybody had to basically quarantine in the house, right? But what a lot of people don't know is that the year prior to 2020, that in 2019, that was the anniversary of the 400 years of the slaves. And the 400 years was up in year 2019. In year 2019, that was when the 400 years was up. That was when the slave trade had ended. So that means that as of year 2020, Black Americans was no longer a part of the slave trade anymore because it has ended. So that means that Black American, Black people, whoever how you want to say melanated people, we were no longer a part of the slaves anymore. We were no longer a part of that contract. It was over with as of 2019. The 400 years was up as of year 2019. So as of year 2019, the 400 years was up. And a lot of people don't even know this, but I made it on the page that I had 40,000 followers on. I made about 4 or 5 videos talking about this, and they banned every last one of them, and I gained thousands of followers because of those videos. And a lot of people was curious, especially young people. And I'm gonna repeat it, and I don't know why I'm doing it on this page. Lord have mercy. Um, so when 2020 came, right? All of a sudden we got this pandemic that came out of nowhere, right? And they were saying that it was COVID, and then they gave us a lockdown. They gave us a lockdown. And this was when Trump was the president. So not only did they lock us down, they also gave us money to be in the house. So he was like, damn, this is a very powerful fucking disease or virus because not only do they want us to be locked in the house, but they even paying us to stay in the house. And then on top of that, less than 6 months, they came up with a vaccine for this virus. Less than 9 months, I would say. They came up with a vaccine that quick to come up with a virus with a needle that can kill this virus, right? But a lot of people don't remember that in the beginning, when COVID first came out, they said that Black people couldn't get it, right? And then they said that the vaccine couldn't live in the degrees of 85 or more. So if once it hit 85 degrees or more, it would die off because COVID couldn't sustain in the heat. So it just so happens that we were told that number one, Black people couldn't get it. Then we were told that under a certain amount of degrees in heat, that the disease would kill off. And once Black people got aware that they could not get it, they wasn't afraid of it anymore. And once they realized that the heat could actually kill it, they wasn't afraid of it anymore. That's when all of a sudden you notice Black people started getting it. That's when you realize that the fact that summer was coming, because you got April, May, June, July, That's when they realized that this vaccine wasn't, they knew that this vaccine wasn't really going to do what it's supposed to do because they already told us. A lot of people forgot about this. Summer is coming. So if summer is coming, most likely this vaccine is really going to die off because it can't sustain 85 degrees or more. That's when black people started really getting it all of a sudden. And then when the summer came, that's when they were saying, oh, that was a lie that was put out. You can still get it. But if you can remember, as of March of 2020, they put us on lockdown and they paid us, right? And then when the vaccine finally did come out, right, they started paying us to take the vaccine. They not only started paying us, they started bribing us to take it. They was giving $1 million out to take it. They were giving out scholarships. They were basically doing whatever they got to do to get us to take it. And the main people that they wanted to take the vaccines was black people. I made videos about it and they banned it. The main people they really wanted to take the vaccine was black people. And then the fact that they didn't want to keep putting it out there that they wanted black people to take it, then they start saying we want black people and less fortunate people. We want older people. Then they start putting other people in it to not make people think it was only black people. And if y'all can remember, a lot of people became awakened in year 2020 during the lockdown. During the year 2020, you had millions of people that became awakened in year 2020. So what that means that if you had millions of people that became awakened in year 2020, that means now their spirit was once asleep, now is awakened. That means that they was once dead and now that they're alive because they became awakened in year 2020 during this lockdown. But at the same time, while a lot of people is becoming awakened, they got a vaccine that is out that they are not only forcing you to take. If you didn't take this needle, you would lose your job. You couldn't go out. A lot of people thought it was the mark of the beast the way they was treating us. But what they didn't tell y'all was that the 400 years was up for black people. The 400 years was up. So the fact that the 400 years was up, that means the black people are now free. So what they did was the fact that black people are now free, that means that black people don't no longer have to abide by the rules of the government. That means we are free people. We can do whatever we want. But the fact that so many black people wasn't aware, they tried to scare black people by putting out a fake. Because to be real honest with y'all, COVID really don't exist. The only thing they did was they taken the flu. And what they did was they renamed the flu and they added a little bit more symptoms and they gave it the name COVID. That's all they did. COVID was only a flu. Because if you realize from 2020 all the way up to 2022, ain't nobody talk about the flu anymore. Nobody talked about the flu no more. Everybody talked about COVID, right? So as of year 2020, you have millions of people that became awakened in year 2020. But at the same time, they got this needle out here that they needed you to take. So they wanted all of these people, especially black people, to take this needle. And a lot of people took it because they wanted to keep their job. They wanted to do this. They wanted to do that. But what the needle was meant to do, the needle was designed to mess up your immune system. The needle was designed to keep you under a certain amount of program. That's what the needle was for. The COVID vaccine needle had nothing to do with COVID. They put out a fake virus and they came up with this vaccine because they had to weaken your immune system. And they told us that if you were to take the vaccine within 5 to 6 years, you would get either extremely sick or you would die off, because they knew eventually that the black people were going to be aware that they were free. And now we in year 2025, and look at what the world is doing. You got the AI Atlas coming. You got the sun that's about to rise. And guess what? You got millions of people that is aware of what's going on, and you got millions of people that is not aware. And I'm not going to say no more about it because there's so much more that I want to say. Because I can make 2 and 3 videos about it, but I'm not, because I'm not going to give my page back.